It's on now.
Okay, hi, welcome to the May meeting of MNRCC. Glad that we have a quorum on the phone. Rich is unavailable at the moment, and we have Francis and Francina. So, make approval, to approve the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. The minutes were distributed. Any questions? I'll move it.
Are you going to talk about it together?
If you'd like to. If you'd like to talk about the minutes.
Oh, sorry. Not the minutes.
Oh, okay, so I'll move it. Do I get a second?
Second, anybody?
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
All right, so the chair's report, they were distributed, but there's some changes, and I want to ad-lib a little bit. So, last week, Ellen and Lisa were together, and they discussed about this 2-minute thing that delayed trains, which was approved as part of the budget amendment.
Yes, we met with Kathy Rinaldi, and that was one of the things that we discussed, and how it would, how or whether it would affect service and or their upcoming schedules.
There was a board briefing a couple of months ago where this was discussed. I wasn't able to be there. In fact, I was told it wasn't going to be an in-person one, so I called in and found out there were people there, which annoyed me. But anyway, I brought this up, and I said, we can't hold the railroads to this 2-minute thing. It just doesn't work. So they said that they're looking to make some modifications to that.
One of the issues that she raised was that construction season will affect travel time. And unless they readapt the schedules, that has potential ramifications.
So you're just gonna have more late trains?
Well, not if there's funding attached to it.
Okay,
I
so
don't know who's worse, you or Long Island?
at Monday's joint, actually, for those who weren't aware of it, for the last 2 months, we've had, well, for many years, there's been, in the even-numbered months, February, April, and June, and so on, joint committee meetings of Metro North and Long Island Railroad. They're now combined, it's now one committee, and believe it or not, to show you how quickly people get promoted here, our alumnus, Rhonda, is now a co-chair or vice chair, I think she is, of the joint committee. So,
Who's the chair?
I'm sorry, Susan Metzger, who was the chair of the Metro North Committee, and the new representative from Suffolk County, Kevin Law, who's brand new, is the other co-chair. So the two of them are co-chairs.
And Rhonda's the vice chair?
Rhonda is the vice chair for us, and I forget who the vice chair for the other head of it is.
But one of the speakers yesterday, one of the public speakers, expressed concern that people with no experience on the board were promoted quickly, without training. No comment.
But anyway, it is what it is.
How was that responded to?
It was,
There was
they
no
don't respond. They're generally not responsive.
You know, sometimes if there's something that's really important, the chair will address those concerns. And mostly it's Pat Foy, and I think that Fernando Ferrer, when he was secretary chair, he did also address some of the concerns of the public speakers, but there was no mention this time.
I just have, the 2-minute thing, I mean, was there a timeline when that was supposed to be implemented, or?
They have a period of time to respond to 60 or 90 days to go back to legislature with their concerns and requests.
So that could all be amended?
Yes.
Is it in effect now, in 2 minutes?
It's not?
Oh, so it's still 5 minutes and 59 seconds,
Yes.
which is the national standard for the law.
Right. So it's still in effect and won't go in until after the comment period. I think it is 90 days.
So Francis and Francis, are you were signed up for the Metro North alerts that come by email?
Yeah.
So then you saw the Way Ahead program, they sent it out as a separate email alert yesterday. There was a nice PowerPoint attached to it.
No, I didn't. I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
All right, I'll send it to you, I'll send it to you when I get home.
Okay.
So you have a significant,
Am I signed up to the wrong thing?
I'm
I think
just.
it's a different alert.
You said PowerPoint, it was like,
Well,
it was like
it's a similar-
YouTube or something.
Yeah, like a PDF, it's a
Yeah,
PDF.
no, it was YouTube, it was, you know, graphics. and
Yeah, that's right,
yeah.
you're right, it came as a
Yeah, I
YouTube,
got
as a YouTube. All right, I'll send it to you.
Along with
when
all the
when I
light
get
trains.
home.
That'd be great.
And so one of the important things is that it was that all of the Metro North 103 grade crossings have been identified in ways, so we shouldn't have any screw-ups of people turning onto the tracks anymore, like the Green Road on the Harlem line. Green Lane, whatever it is, yeah.
Green Lane.
Green Lane. And the LIR has done the same thing, and I have also a note here that 78 of 81 grade crossings have been equipped with LED lights, which will be easier for people to see. We have improvements at 125th Street. I was in that station last week. In White Plains, I've been there recently. In Portchester, I've been through it, but I didn't stop there. If anyone has been through Grand Central, did you see the new Harlem line boards, which are up? A New Haven line, rather? They look good. They look very nice. They actually changed the font where it said New Haven line to make it look more like an older type font than a very, very modern one.
It did look good.
It was a nice touch to it.
I did not get that email either, so that may have
Oh.
been and I'm surprised. So
Oh.
I can do it.
All right, I have it.
Yeah, I get email that you were, I didn't get that.
All right, I will send,
I'll send
it to everybody then.
Thank you.
So we had a big discussion yesterday with the representatives. There were 4 of them, 2 from Siemens and 2 from Bombardier. They're working as a consortium on putting the PTC, and with the recent revelations of equipment that was delivered that was faulty, antennas under the trains which don't work because they didn't give the proper instructions for putting them in. But they assured us, they kept saying over and over, and they kept getting pressed that they're going to make sure they have a timetable, it's going to be done, we're going to be in compliance well before the December 31st, 2020 deadline. If, God forbid, it doesn't happen, we wouldn't be permitted to run any trains, and any trains that operated would be subject to $27,000 per train penalty
Per day.
per day. So there's a lot of interest to make sure that it gets done.
The same problem in Long Island?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same
Same
equipment,
people, yeah, I figured that,
same
yeah.
cars, the same equipment.
So it seems as though the problem is being, the magnitude of the problem is being appreciated finally, and it's finally being addressed, but there are still, Catherine Rinaldi and Phil and Edward had noted that there were problems with field support staff and the leadership of the 2 companies committed to addressing that.
And truth be told, they weren't supposed to be at the meeting. One of the board members, Larry Schwartz, had not asked but demanded, that was the proper word, demanded
Yeah.
that Mr. Kaiser, who was CEO of Siemens in Germany, should come to the meeting.
He even said it in German.
Yeah, he did, in terrible German.
Terrible German.
Terrible German.
So the CEO of Siemens was there, huh?
Well, the CEO of Siemens Mobility US was there, not the CEO of Siemens
Like the worldwide
Global,
company.
worldwide.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And yesterday there was a lot of table thumping and more demands that almost didn't allow them to speak. But apparently there had been a phone call that only a couple of people were invited to participate in, and not everybody on the committee. With actual Joe Kaiser, it's his name, not his title, right? From Siemens Global.
Yeah, they were, he wanted to not allow anyone to speak, but then people were allowed to ask questions. And the questions they were asking were pretty good. And the only thing I asked about was, I mentioned New Jersey Transit, and we're subject to what they do. And the question was addressed, and so Kathy Rinaldi said that she does have conversations, and Susan Metzger, who's the chair, who's from Orange County, was very concerned about it and asked to be a participant in a future phone call with them, and she agreed, and after the meeting was over, I also asked for that request, so I'll be hopefully involved with that as well.
Because if Parsons is doing New Jersey
Yeah,
Transit.
Parsons is the one doing New Jersey Transit.
Now, New Jersey, we were informed that New Jersey Transit would get all Metrolinx locomotives done by August.
Yeah, for some reason, our locomotives, there's 15 old ones that kept reconditioned over the years. Some of them go back to the 1960s, late 60s, early 70s. And they're supposed to be, it's a special project to do them because they're different than all the others. So that's going to be done in August.
So
Is that Parsons Transportation or WSP?
They just said Parsons.
They just said Parsons.
Part of the, the consortium representatives, and Neil Zuckerman was not happy about the word consortium, or about the fact that there was a consortium, because he said that they tend to fail, and named several you've never heard of, because they have, in fact, failed. But expressed concern, that, or the consortium said that they're putting out the fires, but why were the fires allowed to get so high is really a major question.
It is, absolutely is.
And there was talk about banning Siemens and Bombardier,
Yeah, well, the technical term they would use was debarring them.
debarring them.
Except who's left to do that?
This is true. True.
Right,
And
Parsons.
is it, when you say the field support, they just don't have enough staff, they don't have qualified staff?
It went into tremendous detail about the amount and number of qualified staff they have worldwide, that they were able to redeploy people from one office to another, and that they are reassigning more staff. So I think it sounded to me as though it wasn't being treated as a high priority
Until just recently.
until the table thumping and the demand started, and then the threat of debarment. So
Wow.
it's mind blowing. So Sarah Feinberg, who is
Former FRA administrator.
right, she's former FRA administrator, she's the new chair of the transit committee, but also in a position of authority, it would seem, on the board, or she's being groomed. I have no idea, but she certainly sits next, she's in the head seat.
Yeah, new person
Well,
also in charge
she's
of
a
transit.
governor employee.
Well, she's a governor appointee, but she, because of her props with the FRA, is head of safety initiatives there, I believe is her approximate title, was part of the phone call that took place. And it sounded as though she were assured that that the right mitigation steps are being taken and that things will happen.
Okay.
We'll see.
Whatever it takes.
The interesting thing is New Jersey Transit having the same problems?
Well,
We don't know.
we heard no. They're done, I think, right? They're almost done. The problem has
They're
been
not done with our locomotives,
But
so
they-
they're not done.
calibration of the antennas that were installed. And then as they went back, that had to then be removed. And then as they went back to check the calibration and make sure it was right, they, I think, welded instead of bolted some equipment
Yeah.
onto the trains. And then all of that had to be done over. And that, I believe, was discovered by MTA audit, field audit team.
They will be paying all of the expenses.
Even if it costs $100 million,
Yeah. They will pay it, they will pay it.
Wow.
yeah.
All right. So last Monday, Orrin and I we met some of the Clarkstown officials, Metro North representative who's very knowledgeable in grade crossings, and some people from NJ Transit about the grade crossing. I'm not sure that any of you have been to Rockland, you know where Costco is in Nanuet.
Yes.
So there's a grade crossing, it's called New Clarkstown Road. It's really not a great crossing. They did make a repair a few years ago, but we found out last week that the whole thing is going to get redone. The technical aspect is that of the surface is that most of the grade crossings have a rail. Then there's the rail the train actually runs on, and another rail behind it. And sometimes with, and it's all in a blacktop. And so with the heat and the abuse of the cars and the trucks, and there's hundreds of trucks go over that every day, I presume, it gets damaged. So they're replacing it with a brand new system. Well, I mean, it's not new, but this is brand new equipment they're putting there. It's gonna be concrete with only the running rails of the train, which should be making a much smoother surface for going over, and it should last longer. That's what they told us.
It seems to be working.
Yeah, and I've seen it in other places too, so this is like a new way of doing it.
So it's been installed.
No, it's gonna, they're
It's
gonna
been
do
installed
it,
another grade crossing.
but not us. But there's gonna be a shutdown of the Pascack Valley line. We believe it's gonna be weekends, 5 weekends, or, and middays. They'll run a similar bus service. I asked to be part of the planning process, and nobody responded to me yet, but I'm gonna keep following it up. They're not gonna do the actual setting everything up until sometime next month, so we have some time on it. And I myself, I'm
Chairman Grady?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
So Nick, you said that if you stop and you're not on the track, they beat their horn to you?
Yeah, yeah. If I stop in advance of
How is
it.
that possible? They don't have any, they don't have gates?
Well, there's no trains coming, but you don't want to be trapped on a grade crossing. And after going after the county highway superintendent, who was responsible for that road, they finally put signs up at my request that said, "Don't stop on the tracks."
Okay.
So, anyway, there are other measures that they're,
Yeah, I can explain a little bit.
yeah, Oren talked, and Oren and I talked about this last year, and Oren and I thought it was a great idea, so I forwarded a suggestion that they make the right turn. It's a 2-lane road going north on that the right lane be designated a right turn only. This way, there wouldn't be a backup of cars, but they didn't want to do that. They have some, Oren can explain what they want to do, because it's more in his area of expertise.
Right. What they want to do is actually put a preemption system in on that signal. So that as the train approaches the crossing, the signal goes into preemption mode, and the northbound traffic gets a green light to clear out all the cars, so that no cars would be stopped on the track. And that's great, and of course it'll work. However, it's going to require the approval of the New York State Department of Transportation, because they have the responsibility for the crossings. I know a little more technical about the traffic signal itself, and since it's put in and maintained by the town of Clarkstown, I'm going to see if I can talk to the town supervisor, and we can get some things put in the interim that may just work so that the cars won't back up onto that railroad track crossing. It's something called, there are ways to redo the traffic signal, okay?
Sounds like Murray Bowden needs to go there with his paintbrush, which he's done before, as you may or may not know.
All right. Last thing is that we have, on my report here, is on June 6th, it's 2 weeks from today. We're going to meet at 2 Broadway, and we have, as our guest speaker, Patrick Warren, who recently joined as the MTA Chief Safety Officer. And it's going to be an interesting meeting, and I hope that everybody could come in person. And what else? We're sending out Patrick Warren's name is. Oh, June the 6th, D-Day.
The PCAC meeting.
Yeah, D-Day is, all the councils come together, 2 Broadway, we'll be in the boardroom on the 20th floor.
Yep.
And we will be sending out a survey. Yes. No, June the 6th, D-Day. D-Day. We talked about this at the exec committee on Tuesday. We'll be sending out a survey soon to see if you're more likely to attend in person at those PCAC meetings are held in the later afternoon. We'll see what people will say. I know there are problems with people who are not as lucky as me and don't have to work anymore. But we'll, give people a chance. I'm open to anything. So anyway,
That
this
was
actually,
raised by LARRCC
Yeah.
folks.
it wasn't us that raised it, it was the Long Island Railroad Commuter Council.
Would that, if I might just interject, would that make it easier for any of the folks on the phone to attend in person? If a meeting were held at around 4:30 or in the afternoon?
If it's at 4:30, it's still difficult for me, unfortunately. Well,
What?
you know what, that's not true. 4:30 might work better. Because I can cut out of the office early and head down to the meeting.
Okay.
We also talked about changing the location so that it could be in Midtown, if that's easier as well.
Okay, where is your office, Francina?
I'm on 51st and 3rd. I can walk to Grand Central.
So that means,
So if we were somewhere in Midtown, if we were in somewhere in Midtown, that would be helpful.
yeah, that would work for me also. All right. And Francis,
It's more central.
sure. Francis, your office?
Yeah, I mean, that works better for me.
All right.
It's hard, whether you're Jersey City or wherever you come from, you come over, lunch, and go.
Right.
Okay, for
Yeah.
an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So on the way out or on the way in, it's always better.
All right.
Great.
Okay, so we did board
As
entry.
long as it's not the first Thursday of the month.
Okay,
Well, that's.
It is, but-
It is.
but we can also look at
Don't
that
give
too.
the people's work to do.
Well, the first Thursday of the month, I have to go, I have my committee meetings, I'll be in legislative session.
Is it at night? Oh, at night you do
Yeah.
this?
Our committee meetings start at the legislature at 5:30, the first Thursday of every month.
Whoa.
Okay. Glad you said that, because that's
Yeah, yeah.
generally when the meetings are, but we can also,
Look to make it to the second part, next second.
so then if it were in the morning, would that be easier?
How early?
Like what time you?
That's a long way.
Yeah,
9?
9,
how early are you talking?
9:30?
On the first Thursday?
If it was the first Thursday, or any Thursday, or any day, we don't, not time
Any
Thursday, we
Thursday.
can make it on Wednesday also.
Any Thursday but the first Thursday is better for me, whether it's at, 9 in the morning or 4:30 in the afternoon.
Okay, good to know.
All right, we should have made a note of that.
Francis, are there any times that are particularly worse for you?
No, it's better on the way out.
Okay, great. Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Old business membership update.
So I have had several conversations with the Westchester County Executive's Office. They have forwarded four names to the governor's office. Three of the names we had, actually no, they've sent 5 names. Two of the names we had, hold on, 3 of the names we had thought had already been shared, but they had not.
So we're talking about Putnam County, or do we?
No, they're
Westchester?
not even, this is
So
just
do we have-
Westchester.
So someone had been previously proposed from New Rochelle,
Right.
and somebody from White Plains,
One
I think?
sec. Right, so, right, so they've been proposed, but there were issues with them never having progressed past the paperwork being submitted. They hadn't gotten to the governor's desk or whoever makes the decision for approvals. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names went up from the Westchester County Executive. 1 name went up from the Bronxborough President's Office. So I have followed up with the Governor's Appointments Office. I'll send you a copy of the email. Followed up with the Governor's Appointments Office to see where things stand, including with Randy's reappointment to the board. Followed up with a phone call and an email, and we'll continue to do that. But it sounds as though the county executive's office has some good relationships with the governor's appointments office and has.
Well, that's encouraging.
That is
But
encouraging.
Putnam is separate from this,
Yeah.
Putnam is handled separately.
Well, just because, no, and actually one of these names may have, who was from Putnam, was that Shoni?
Yes.
Oh, right, so I
So
included
this-
him, but said Westchester.
So
so he was-
there's
yeah.
4 vacancies for Westchester.
Right, and James Schoenig from Putnam and William Ronda from the Bronxborough President's Office.
Will help.
That's great, Lisa, that's awesome, nice job, you guys, that's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're not here yet.
They're not here yet, that's not kind of our chickens before that.
Right, but I think that the chickens have found a place to roost. So hopefully
That's great.
they'll be at least moved forward before everybody goes, in Albany goes home.
Francis, I think you're the longest serving person on, besides Catagio. Have we ever had,
He's longer.
I know, but besides him, have we ever been a full staff?
Yeah, years ago we did work.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have good meetings.
Well, let's hope we can get back to that again. I mean, I'd dearly love to have the Metro North staff come and talk to us.
Mhm.
And they'll be happy to do it, but I can't invite them to a meeting where there's just two of us here and two on the phone.
Well, to that end,
No, sure, I understand.
if it's easier for the folks for the MNRCC meetings to do it in the evening, then maybe that's a consideration as well, because otherwise it,
They used to be in the evening, and
Yeah.
they moved it to now because they thought they'd get more participation.
My preference is the day, but
And
It started
If
at
it's gonna
lunch,
be
and it got
evenings,
moved to the-
it's much more convenient for them during the day.
And we used to get, we used to get full participation.
well, right now we have almost full participation.
Well, we do, yeah.
Right.
Correct. We're one short today.
Yeah.
that's right.
All right, well, to be continued, I'll continue to
Yeah.
update, to update as I get information.
Okay. We're staying on top of it. We're not letting it fall through the cracks again.
Correct.
All right, so the next thing is the elections, so.
So, elections, so at the last meeting of the Metro North Borough Commuter Council, we had nominations for the positions of chair and vice chair, with Randy Glucksman for chair and Orin Getz as vice chair. So now, the process is to vote on those nominations. So may I have a motion for Randy Glucksman for chair?
Separately or together?
We can do it however, we can do it together, unless there's any objection.
No, I have none.
No.
Okay, so motion,
I would make a motion. I
okay,
would make a motion that we vote in favor of Randy for chairman and Orin for vice chairman.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
great, great. May I have a vote, please?
Aye,
All right.
Aye.
unanimous.
Okay,
Thank you.
wonderful,
Thank you. That was easy.
Unanimous, all members participated.
right,
Can we get a proxy from Catagio?
we did not,
Okay.
You sent copies.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
yes, congratulations,
Thank you. I hope you continue doing the job I'm doing now
yes.
and representing everybody.
Randy does a good job.
Yeah, we were waiting at Tarrytown, and then we walked up to the platform, this huge screen that tells you what the next train is, listing all the trains, was completely blank. So I took a picture, and we got on the southbound platform. Excuse me. I happened to look up, and the cleaning crew had left one of those bin doors open. And so I took a picture, and I called the line superintendent to tell him, and it went to voicemail. And I called someone else, it went to voicemail. So I wound up sending to someone, the head of the stations. And actually, I didn't send him the trash bin thing, I sent him the other one, and he wrote back that they already have a ticket on it, which means they're gonna fix it. And so while I was standing there, when I was waiting for this fellow who was standing in front of the trash bin to move, and he finally did, and I took the picture, and he says, I want to report this. He said, I wouldn't know who to report it to.
Yeah.
So I said, I do. So anyway, it's gonna be taken care of.
They don't have, so for the group station managers in the subway, they provide contact information. Do they not provide contact information on Metro North?
Well, there it wasn't.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think they have like maybe they do have a ticket, but I don't think they do where it says contact station manager number at or.
You know what, Francis, you're right, that would be a great thing to put on those poor boards that have
Yeah.
all the other community stuff and the timetable. So we'll send this a recommendation from the council.
Yeah, they should have a number, if they see something wrong, that,
I mean, what I could have done was gone over to the fellows selling the tickets, but it was an awfully long walk to go
No,
back over.
You shouldn't have to do
And I
that.
just didn't.
You go to the stations department, give it to them, because that's
Well, I
where
did,
they fall under.
that's what, well, I wound
That's
up.
where they fall under, they work
Well,
for the station.
I saw an
But
out
there
of
should
office,
be a contact.
Right.
an out of office message came to me, because when I was on the phone, and I did call the guy, and he said, well, we'll take care of it. All right,
We'll develop a letter.
Right?
if there's nothing else,
I have two things.
Okay.
All right.
all right, so we'll call from the
The
chairman.
first thing is, hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I have two things. The first thing is, I know we tried once a year with Bill to show our presence at Grand Central,
Sure,
you know, do that.
oh, absolutely.
Meet the council.
I
Yeah,
don't
we
know
haven't had one
if there are any plans of doing something like that this year.
We could,
And if we were, could we consider perhaps showing our presence in not just Croton and Grand Central, but in different stations? You know, maybe something in Poughkeepsie, I'd be happy to be the person up there, just to show people that, you know, that we exist and,
Sure.
and what we do, and how we can help them
we
increase
could do that, oh,
visibility.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Which could potentially increase give us more leverage maybe when speaking.
Absolutely. It's
Right.
a way to get our name out.
That's great,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm open to it, sure.
So what we can do to that end is, I know that there's a brochure that had been developed previously, that will recirculate to to see if there are any updates that you all want to add.
you know, we used to have an over in Grand Central, you know, meet our council.
Right, if that's
Francina
what,
wants to do it
that's what she wants to
different
do.
places.
And
Move it
different,
around.
All right,
Yes, just send us some ideas about where you'd like to do it, if you have any dates that you think would be good or bad.
yeah, we could do this either on the date of a community council meeting or in lieu of
Yeah.
one on a different date.
Yeah.
Because none of these dates are graded in stone. So,
As evidenced by this one.
I'm willing to go anywhere that you think it
well,
would
and
be
I
helpful.
think that moving it around, especially with all the work that's going on in Grand Central, it would behoove us to be in other places.
Mhm. Oh, also, even at Fordham,
White Plains,
yeah.
Poughkeepsie.
Now, I was actually going to suggest also Yankee Stadium, and it leads me to the second thing I wanted to raise.
Yankee Stadium,
I'm not
okay.
sure if there's anything we can do,
And that is?
but as a potential, we can definitely, listen, I'm open to be visible wherever we need to be so that
Great.
people know who we are, we can help them. And even those pamphlets that were circulated, those brochures that we had, or that we still have, perhaps leave those in different stations so we can leave where there's room to leave those pamphlets around for commuters. You know, somewhere near where there are timetables, maybe we can leave our stuff there.
Yep, well, there are posters that
There should
we
be.
have, there, I don't know